Do you hate ads? I hate ads. You know what I love? Patreon.com/inkdependence, where patrons get access to a patron-only Discord, ad-free videos, and the joy of knowing they help support this channel. Hello folks, welcome to Ink Dependence. I'm Mike, and today I have an ink for you that comes in this box. Very impressive box, right? This is actually a set of TWSBI inks, and this included 6 of them: pink, orange, prairie green, emerald green, sky blue, and royal purple. Inside this box you have it's like a very nice papery kind of box, very protective and fun, and you have these little bottles. So you see there's one missing, and that's the one we have out for you today. I think you can get at least some of these in standalone bottles now, but at the time you had to buy all 6. Here's the bottle. This is TWSBI Sky Blue, and this is actually a very nice little ink. I haven't used most of the other ones in that box. I just have not gotten around to it, but I like this one a whole lot. And you can see it's definitely missing a lot of ink because I filled this up several times. So let's take a look at this on some paper. There it is on my Nebula casual note. Flow pretty wet, actually. And it was actually in a wet pen, so this was probably not the best possible combination of things, but actually it worked really well. And these 18 ml bottles are about $9.50 a piece. I must have found them singles when I was writing this up. There is a little bit of sheen on here, as I said, but it is a very nice, kind of medium blue with a bit of sheen to it. A little bit of spread, maybe some bleed on the copy paper. We'll see that here in a few minutes. And the pen I had this in is a TWSBI Swipe, which is this pen right here. It doesn't have this ink in it anymore. This pen is extremely wet. Something I want to say with the way this this converter works. Look how big this converter is. It is just a massive beast. Holds a lot of ink, and I found that when it got down fairly low, the ink would actually just start to try to drip out the nib, which was kind of annoying. I don't know why it was doing that, but it was. So maybe don't put this ink in your wettest pen, or else you'll have that happen. But I don't know. I haven't had that problem with some other inks like this one, which is my Baraje that I absolutely overloaded with shimmer. I was like, let's see how much shimmer we can put in this ink and still have it work. And it does mostly, although this is way more shimmer than you should use. So yeah, TWSBI Swipe, interesting pen, but probably my least favorite TWSBI, honestly. I don't love this one. I never bought a second one. All right. For comments and that sort of thing, I like this blue. It's a very nice medium blue. It's not too red. It doesn't go too green or anything like that. It's not dark. It's not super light. It's just very readable and like a good blue. If you want a good standard blue for your use. Now you can see here on the chromatography that this is probably not going to have any water resistance at all, and that's totally okay. Not everything has to be waterproof for everyone. We'll see how this goes. I haven't tried water on it before. You can also see from this chromatography that the only color in this ink is essentially blue. So there's probably a reason it doesn't go red or green. It just is blue. So very readable, very pleasant. I like it, but is it going to be okay with water? Yeah, no, it doesn't like water much at all. It didn't love that treatment. It was like, hey, come on, what are you doing, Mike? Don't put water on me. So yeah, there is a little bit left though. I think you'd probably be able to recover what you wrote, but it's not going to look good. I'm surprised by how much of that stuck around. That's kind of impressive given how much I picked up on my paper towel here. So I don't know. Not very water resistant though, I would not say. Here it is on my Staples 20-pound, 30% recycled copy paper from that TWSBI Swipes medium nib. And as I said, it's a pretty wet ink on a fairly wet nib, or maybe a fairly wet ink on a pretty wet nib. I don't know, either way. Lots of ink was going down. Definitely a bit of spreading. Not quite feathering though, which is interesting. And it fared medium, I would say, on this paper. You know, everything mostly bleeds through this. There are a few rare ones that don't bleed through, but, pretty mid on this paper, I would say. Better than Rebirth, but this titanium nib is wildly wet. So I'm going to say probably a lot of that has to do with the wetness of that nib. So yeah, if you use a fine nib or a drier nib, and I would say keep this in a drier nib, you'll probably be happier with TWSBI Sky Blue than you would with a real wet ink or a real wet nib. Next up, I tried it on some Moraman Mnemosyne. I love Mnemosyne paper. It's one of my go-tos for just writing notes and all that kind of thing. And on this paper, it looks kind of like a bit lighter and brighter than it did on some of the others, and that's very interesting. I think it looks really good on here, though. It's extremely readable. It hasn't, it doesn't blast out from the page, but it doesn't fade back too much either. It's just kind of a very chill, calm ink here. So there you go. Constructive reuse, spolia of war. Yeah, this is about using demolished things in cities and that sort of thing. So very interesting bit there. Go ahead and pause it if you want to read the rest of that little passage from the 99% Invisible City by Roman Mars and Kurt Kolstad that I've been transcribing forever. So there you go. Next up, Inky Fingers Currently Ink Notebook. You'll notice this one has a begun and a filled date. This is one of my old ones because I actually originally filled this a very long time ago. And like I said, I just kept refilling it. I originally filled this up in the very beginning of September 2021. And then I don't know, I refilled it for a couple of, I don't know, I didn't actually refill it with this until not that long ago, like a few months ago. So years I was using it in this swipe. It's very good. So yeah, pretty darn good there. Lastly, my ink journal. This is old school Tomoe River. Again, a filled ink journal page and our book there. And there you go. There's the nice sky blue, looking very sky blue. A lot of sky blue looking stuff there. Yeah, looks good. Works nice. And now, lastly, it's time for some color comparisons. So there's sky blue for you on a Colodex card, looking real nice there. Next to that, I would also put Califolio's Blue Pacific, which is pretty close, although I think it's a little bit lighter, but it's in the same vein for sure. My experience with Califolio inks, though, is that they are quite dry, and this is on the other end of the spectrum, being quite wet. So here's another Califolio that's kind of on the other side. So if you do it kind of like this is darker, this is lighter, this is dead in the middle of those two, I think. So Califolio Omi Osun, I don't know what that means, but interesting stuff there. These both came in pouches, which is a fun thing Califolio does. Next up, I've got Toucan Royal Blue, which I think is lighter, but definitely in the same vein as Sky Blue, as being just sort of a typical blue. Toucan you can't get a hold of any longer. Unfortunately, that company has disappeared. Then next up, I've got Caran d'Ache Hypnotic Turquoise, which is pretty darn close to Sky Blue. It's a little bit deeper. It's a little bit of a deeper color, I think, than Sky Blue actually is, but pretty darn close. Then I've got here Monteverde's Caribbean Blue, which again, this one is definitely lighter. So I think if you went like this, you'd have like lighter, middle, a bit darker. And then over here, I'll do the same kind of thing with some Iroshizukus. So Iroshizuku, Amairo, and Konpeki. Konpeki a little bit darker, Amairo a bit lighter, Sky Blue right in the middle of a bunch of pairs of ink. Isn't that interesting? It's a really interesting arrangement of colors. So kind of a perfectly medium sort of sky blue. I think definitely worth trying out if you are into this kind of neat medium blue. Find yourself some TWSBI Sky Blue. It's pretty cool. Also, this is a good bottle. Very attractive and inexpensive. So there you go. Check that out at your favorite ink purveyor. And until next time, think about what you put out in the world, make it a better place. And peace out.